All right, I think it's recording. Blah. Okay, I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
Oh, a little shadowy, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Hi. So today I'm here with Lorea.
Yes.
Sorry. And we are going to be doing TRE.
Okay.
So TRE stands for Tension and Trauma Releasing Exercises. Okay. It was developed by Dr. David Berselli. So he is a clinical social worker. He has degrees in theology and Arabic, and worked for decades, still works in war zones in Africa, Middle East, and so he works there as a trauma therapist. And he very quickly, many years ago, decades ago, found that really the one-on-one tools that he had to work with people who are going through big-time trauma were really just not enough to help them. And he was experiencing a lot of trauma there too. And so he started really looking into, okay, what else can be done here? And he found, for instance, if in a moment of severe trauma, they'd all be in a bombing shelter while air raids were going on and bombings were going on. And there was one time in particular, he was actually holding a young child, close to infancy, very, very young. And he noticed that every time a bomb went off and something hit nearby, everyone in the entire shelter, adult, all ages, cross nationality, cross culture, all that, wherever he was, would contract. So I've had that with thunder. A sudden clap of thunder. I actually kicked my husband in bed one time. And so no one's like, whoa. So everyone contracts. And what he also noticed was that, in fact, the baby started shaking. And he also had this feeling that, of kind of shaking. But because we are so culturally programmed to hide that, it shows weakness or vulnerability, maybe that you're sick, that he cut it off for himself. But babies do it. So based on this theory of contraction that is this, universal, in fact, it's even genetically encoded mechanism, there must be an opposite. And that expansion, or kind of reopening up, involves, in fact, shaking. So he developed a series of light exercises that stretch and just basically lightly kind of stimulate the muscles that start evoking the tremor or the shaking mechanism in your body, so that you can basically do these exercises, start shaking, lie down, start shaking at any time to relieve trauma and stress. Now, we were just talking about war zones, and he's worked with refugees and all that, and that is one end of the spectrum, and that's obviously very extreme, and hopefully many of us are not going to be involved in that kind of situation. But it's a continuum, and on the other end of the continuum is everyday stressors, so being cut off in traffic, or having a colleague or boss give you kind of a curt word, being late for a flight, running to catch something. So it's life. I mean, everyone has stress, and it doesn't have to be trauma, big capital T. Everyone's got stress and things going on in their life that gets held in the body. So this is really useful for anyone. It's not just, veterans or refugees or anything else. So the lovely thing about it is that it's something that I will go through and teach you the exercises, but it is also a self-regulating practice. So that means that, well, first of all, under no circumstances at any time should you be in any kind of pain. So if you ever feel any pain or discomfort in that way, please let me know. So that's the self-regulating part. That's the part where you participate. Because sometimes you can hide it really well. Like you won't show it on your face. So please definitely let me know. This should never cause any kind of pain. Sometimes, not all the time, emotions can come up. Sometimes trauma is actually attached also to an emotional event. An example would be, I maybe tripped and fell down the stairs. I hurt my leg, but There wasn't really any deep emotion around it, versus somebody pushed me down the stairs, and that actually caused, kind of a fear response as well. So that is one example of how emotion can be attached to a trauma. So sometimes emotions can come up during the shaking practice, and it is so normal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It can be, I've laughed, I've cried, you name it, as long as you're comfortable with it. So, definitely in front of me, no problem at all, but if you feel like it's overwhelming, if you feel uncomfortable with it in any way, let me know. We can stop or take a break and see, kind of touch base in group. So, again, you may not visibly be showing signs of emotion, but if you're feeling overwhelmed in any way, let me know. So that's your piece. But before we start, I wanted to see if there's anything going on with your body today that, any injuries or any discomfort that I should know about today.
Just that I'm really tired. It has been a really stressful week, so this is probably actually timely.
Okay, good. Yay, Friday.
but nothing. I do have carpal tunnel, so that'd be the one thing that sometimes if I'm having to keep my hands in a position for very long, they will go numb, and I will shake them to make them not be numb.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. There's really nothing that should be affecting your hands so much, but of course, if it's coming up, feel free to purposely do anything or let me know if it's something that seems to be bothering them.
Yeah, I can just have it folded and we'll do it. So.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not even conscious of it anymore. I'm just like,
okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start standing. It's about 7 exercises. The first one we'll do together, so I'll do it with you. And then the rest of them I will demonstrate, and then I'll kind of step back and have you do them so I can watch and make sure that your form's good and there's no feedback I can give. So let's go ahead and stand. Okay. Make sure I don't hit my head in this. And so the very first one, we're basically going to be working kind of from the floor up.
Okay.
Make sure.
Can we see?
Yeah, let's go a little bit further away just so she can see heads too. Of course, you're taller than I am.
I'm tall, so it's like, I'll go this way.
Okay. Whoops. My phones are on the floor. So the first one, we're basically waking up the bones and the muscles in our feet and ankles, and it's also really good for grounding. So we're going to start, and in just about all these exercises, you want a good bend in not even just soft knee, but a nice bend in your knee. So never really locking them out. And you're going to start feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And we're going to, let's go this way first. We're going to basically, I'll lift up my pants so you can see my feet. We're going to kind of roll over to your rightmost edges of the feet. Nice good posture. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths. And then we're going to slowly roll to the other sides. So again, bending in the knees. So we're kind of using and waking up all the bones and muscles on those feet, from bottoms, edges, ankles. Let's go back to the right. Good. Now, I am so used to shaking. I feel my legs already kind of doing this little shaky thing. Quiver, exactly. It's never a problem to shake.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So never, you never need to do anything to stop that. There's nothing going wrong. It's just your muscles waking up. And we'll go right back to the left.
Crackle pop.
Yeah. Yeah, my knees will probably do that at some point. And then we're just going to go right and left a couple times. Just a little bit. Just kind of easing it back and forth. And then we're done with the first one. So we're just going to go ahead and shake your legs out. See, you can do shake your hands at the same time. You just do it the whole time. Okay, so the second one, I'm going to come over to the wall. And I'm pretty sure this will reach. You can be here. I'm just going to be here a little bit more just because of reaching the microphone. Okay, so you're basically going to have your hands in front of you. So I'll demonstrate first. You can just watch. just for balance. So I'm not having it in front of the door because I don't want you like holding on to this. So it's really just for balance. And you're going to bring one foot up, put it in front, put it back. If you're worried about balance, you can even rest your toes on the floor. You're just not really putting that pressure on there. We're moving up the legs, we just done the feet, so now we're going to be doing calves. So we're just going up and down on that standing leg. And you're going to continue on that leg until you reach a fatigue level of about a 7 out of a 10. When you're done with that, you're going to come off, you're going to shake out the standing leg, and then you're going to switch and do the other side. And again, up and down until you get to a fatigue level of a 7 out of a 10. And then shake it out. All right. So you can come as close as you need to the wall for comfort. Yeah. Yeah. Right. You know, your legs may be different, each side might be different. Fatigue level is different for everyone. So just when you feel like you're at about a 7. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably okay. Okay. Yeah. So go ahead and shake that standing leg. Great. And you can switch to the other side. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel more of like a heat. Sometimes I feel more of a quiver. And I know that at that point the muscle is starting to be activated. You're not going for we're not looking for sore calves after this. Right. Yeah. Okay, shake it out. Great. So next thing, we're also at the wall. So I'm still going to go over here a little more. So for this one, so we're going with our stance just a little bit. I'm sorry, I just got confused. We're going to, I like to be a little bit closer because, although you got to watch your face, because this is more of like a sitting. So what you really want to be looking for is making sure that your knee is not going to be coming out in front of your toes. You're not going to be going forward with your knee, but you're really, it's more butt than knee. So you're really going to be, so again, hands at about the same level. You can put your foot in back. I tend to put it actually in front a little bit because for me it's kind of a counterbalance because I'm sitting back. I'm not going super deep. If you can see my knee, it's bent, but I haven't gone like this because we really want to protect your knees in this. So I'm going back. My chest is kind of going forward a little bit, but I'm not, crouching over like that. Going back and up. And so again, about a fatigue of a 7 out of a 10. You're going to shake out that leg and do the other one. And so again, we're going to just really watch if your foot's more comfortable, again, resting your toe, that's fine. I just find it easier to really watch my knee placement if I kind of counterbalance myself. So in this one, we're working the quads, so we're slowly moving up the legs.
About how far from the wall?
Yeah, I mean, try it, and if it feels like you're a little far or close, then you can absolutely make an adjustment. Yeah. Right, yes. So let's maybe if you really think about when you're sitting in a chair and you really sit down, if you know there's a chair below you, you're really putting your weight back. So try to concentrate on your butt going back because your knee is going really far forward right now. So it's back this way, or again, whatever you want your foot to do, versus just bend. So it's kind of like your whole hips go back. So your chest can go forward if you needed to. Good. Yes, yes.
This one won't take long.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't need to go deep. I mean, that, that's great. Yeah, so shake out that leg. Good. The other side. Yeah, it's the distance is kind of a feel it in your body because your balance and everything. You figure out where it is. Good. Yeah, let's try to stick the hips back just a little bit further. Because the knee's still coming forward a little more than I'd like it to. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that last one in you. Okay. Great. Okay. So the next exercise, we are now working on the inner thighs, the adductors. I always feel it in my hamstrings. I actually feel it in my calves quite a bit. Do not worry about, how limber or not you are. I am not very much right now. So what we're not doing, that concerns me.
Oh, you want to check that? It may go off every. You have sleep in it?
Yeah, but I'm going to assume, I probably do, but I guess I'll assume that it's still recording. Hopefully, because that'll really stink if it's not. Okay, so what we're not doing is the splits. But you are going to do a comfortably wide stance. I'm going to do this on the mat because it gives you a little more grip on the rug, especially with me bare feet. So I'm going to tap my back to you just for a moment, just so that the video can see what I'm doing. So wide stance, comfortably wide stance, feet parallel, good bend in your knees. And you're just going to come over into a forward bend. Ugh. So this is how tight I am. And you're going to stay here for a good 2 or 3 deep breaths. And you're going to come over to one side, put your hand above your knee, ankle, wherever it's comfortable for you. You're going to feel this stretch more on this side. 2 or 3 deep breaths. Walk it over to the other side. 2 or 3 deep breaths, and then come back to the center and actually kind of reach through to the back. And then come up nice and slowly. We don't need you to have a head rush. And then once you're up, you shake it out. I'm going to just move this. My goodness. Okay, so good wide comfortable stance. Good bend in the knees when you feel like you're there. Okay, and you can come over forward into a bend. Absolutely. Yeah, I know, it's funny.
Longer, so it's like does it feel comfortable?
Yeah,
okay, that's good.
Yeah, and anytime you need to do something like that is great. More self-regulation. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, stay here for 2 or 3 good deep breaths. So when you're ready, you can walk over to one side. Yeah, you feel it more on that right side? Yeah. Okay, over to the other side. Good, thank you. I could see it was not locked out, but that's great. And then back to the center and kind of further on through or reaching towards the back a little. Good bend in the knees. Another deep breath. And slow roll up. Oh, I love the slowness. Yeah. And go ahead and shake it all out. Whole body. Great. Okay, so we are now going to move up the body a little further. We're going to the hip flexors and kind of the front of the body, the lower belly. It's just going to be a little bit of stretch here. Again, that was not the splits. We're not doing a back bend.
Right.
So feet are a little bit more than hip width apart. Bend in the knees. You really want to support your back here. So I put my hands, they say pockets, but for me it's really a little bit above. And what I'm doing is supporting my low back. So I'm kind of cradling it. what I'm going to do is tilt my hips and pelvis forward like this, and then I'm going to lift up my chest. Now my head is not going to go back. My head is staying nice and neutral because I don't want to put any pressure on my neck. And I'm going to stay here for 2 or 3 deep breaths. So this is not a back bend. This is really hips forward and pelvis kind of tilted up. After 2 or 3 deep breaths to the center, you're going to rotate, and having a good bend in your knees helps with this. Rotate your hips to the right and look down over your right shoulder. 2 or 3 deep breaths. And you're going to rotate to the other side, to the left. And when you turn to the side, you're going to feel the stretch more on the opposite. Look down after that, or over that left shoulder, back to the center, and straight again. Chest up, head nice and neutral. You're going to come out, give it a good shake. All right. Yeah, it's funny. I started a little further in, and then I wanted to adjust too. Like I wanted to be a little wider. So see where you feel comfortable with that. Yeah, support your low back. And kind of, bend your knees and kind of rotate your hips forward, and then let your kind of weight go way forward in your hips. And then just lift up the chest. So lift from here. Good. And keep your neck nice and neutral. You don't have to put it back at all. Some people just are very open here, and you may or may not always feel a stretch. So it's okay. Okay. Yeah, great. Okay. A few deep breaths. Okay, when you are ready on the next breath, you can rotate your hips to the right, and then look back over your right shoulder. Good. Great. One more deep breath. And then you can rotate your hips to the left.
Fall out of it when I do that.
Yeah, sometimes I come to the middle as a restart point and then go. It just, especially when I go back to the middle, I kind of have to restart. Good. Back over that left shoulder. Good. I like your bend. Good deep breath. I'm enjoying reading your t-shirt. Yeah. Okay. Back to the center. And go ahead and lift up that chest. And you can relax the shoulders. Yeah, I like the chin. That's great. One more deep breath. And then you can come on out. And let's shake it out. Yay. Okay. This is the fun one.
Okay.
Because they're all fun. So again, I'm going to do it at the door just because I think this is not going to quite stretch properly. Okay, but door, wall, wherever it's comfortable for you. I'll just leave the mat here. So I'm basically leaning my back against the wall, and I'm going to kind of step my feet out. Make sure this mat's not going to start moving.
Yeah.
So what I absolutely want to do here is make sure that I can always see the tops of my feet. So in no way do I want my knees to be, I don't want things going like this at all. It's basically sitting here. Your hands can be where they want. You can rest them here. I don't want you holding yourself up with them. And we're going to stay here for several minutes. You might feel some fatigue, and that's okay, and I'll check on your fatigue level. If you start feeling some shaking, that's okay too. If it starts feeling like a burn and it's like, okay, I'm getting really, really tired, just use your hands and push yourself up a few inches. Really, no problem at all. You don't have to go that deep. This is probably about as deep as I would go. I've seen people start here. There's no, you're activating your quads here. So that's all we're doing. When you're done, you're going to push yourself off the wall with your hands, and you're going to come forward into a bend. And we're going to stay here for a minute just to kind of unwind all the quad stretch or quad activation. It'll give you a nice hamstring and calf stretch. And then again, come slowly up. No head rushes. And shake them out. Okay. So I'm going to time you just to make sure we're on track. Okay. So you're sock twisting.
Yes. That will drive me crazy. I'll be like, oh,
right.
About it, right?
You're stuck at the wall.
Always be able to see the top of my feet.
Right. Okay. And just you can kind of edge yourself down. Sometimes the wall, you don't just slide down very easily. So
you stick to it.
yeah. Yeah. So if you need to use your hands or anything to come down, that's totally fine. Yeah. So you don't need to, I mean, go ahead and have your body against, but you don't need to be like pressing your whole back and your head up against it. And now we're just going to hang out. This is kind of one of the key exercises to really activate the quadriceps, the thighs, and for the shaking. It's just about to begin. Oh yeah. Did you have to do full like 90 or yeah? Yeah. Oh, I used to do workouts where it was 90 degrees and then lifting one leg straight out. Oh, not my favorite. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's neat as you start doing this as a practice. You don't necessarily have to do all the exercises because your body just knows how to tremor now. Because what we've done is we've taught ourselves that it's not okay. So we've kind of cut off, it's not that we've cut off the mechanism, we've just said, no, don't do it. And so now you're slowly telling your body, it's okay, you can come out, safe. And so once it really knows it is, it's like, oh, cool, I'll just let that go. You're 2 minutes in. We're going for 5. I don't usually tell people that right now. I think you'll do okay. It's surprising. And again, so how is your fatigue level? How are you doing?
Well, I feel it.
Okay.
Mostly here.
Right.
That's why I readjusted so that I would start feeling it more.
Okay.
All the way up.
Yep. So you adjusted by coming up a little bit to feel it? Okay. Sorry, you said.
I went down.
You went down. Okay.
Because I was like, okay, only place I'm feeling that is here.
Right. So it's like the pressure was right there. Okay. Yeah. So you're like an old pro at doing this in terms of knowing what stance affects what part of your legs even. Isn't it fun to see me just like hanging out, relaxing?
That's kind of evil.
No, I know. I just suddenly felt like, look at me all. So you're breathing. I didn't mean it evilly. So that 7 out of a 10 range is a good guideline. So if it feels like it's starting to push that, just come up a little bit. You're 4 minutes in. See? You're totally going to make it. So we'll do just a few more breaths, and then I'll walk you through the pushing yourself off the wall and such. Okay, and go ahead and put your hands against the wall, and just put yourself off the wall with your hands, and go forward into a bend and just let yourself hang. And hopefully you can breathe in this position. We're staying here for a total of a minute, and you're almost there. Still have feeling in your hands?
Not too bad.
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and roll up slowly. Good. Just go ahead and shake it out. Are you losing your hands a little?
I just was petting it off. So
okay.
Not to keep them in one direction.
Right.
Just have it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this next thing is basically I'm gonna start on the floor. I'll show you the exercise, and you go right into the tremoring from that.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of briefly take you through it, and then I'll walk you through it as you're doing it. So you're basically going to lie down on your back, and you're going to scoot your feet up kind of as close to your hips as you can get, as it's comfortable. And you're going to put the soles of your feet together, and just allow your knees to kind of butterfly out to the side. If this is uncomfortable for you, there's another thing that I can take you through, so just let me know. And you're just going to lie here for a few deep breaths and just kind of relax into it. After a few deep breaths, I basically push the bottom edges of my feet down into the ground. So I use that as a lever to lift my hips up into the air. And we're going to stay here for a minute. Once we are down from that, we're going to lower back down. You're going to just inch your feet out just a few inches. And we're going to stay here just, again, fully relaxed. Knees out as wide as is comfortable for you for a few deep breaths. After that, I'm going to have you bring your knees closer in. So your soles are staying together, but bring your knees up a few inches, 2 or 3 inches. We're going to stay here for 2 minutes. We're going to bring them up again a few inches, stay here for 2 minutes, and again a third time, and stay here for a couple minutes. Eventually going to flat feet. And then we'll kind of play around with how close together or far apart your knees are at that point. So the tremoring usually comes in during that process. So if at any time you feel tired and you just want to take a break, and I will actually ask you to take a break partway in, you just extend your legs out and you just let yourself rest. That may or may not stop the tremoring, but it allows your body to just kind of take a break. If anything becomes overwhelming and you want to stop, you put your legs out, you flex your feet, and that will stop the tremoring in most cases. So good distinction to be aware of. So after we take a break, we'll go ahead and bring our knees back up and kind of play around with the placement of our butterfly wings, and stay here for a few more minutes before we are done. Okay, so I will walk you through all of that. I'm going to be on this side of you. My cord. Reach. Yeah. I don't think I have to have my cord over your body. Oh, and I actually going to grab my phone because again I'm going to just vaguely keep time with. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and scoot the heels up to close to your hips, and if you can, put the soles of your feet together, and butterfly your knees out, and just let your Oh right. Yeah, I had someone wearing jeans. I had said wear comfortable clothes, and he wore jeans. And turns out those were comfortable, but not very flexible. Right. So now it's more like.
I would be aware of too
Right, exactly.
Just let them fall where they fall.
Yeah, just let them fall. And your hands can be wherever you want.
Okay.
So wherever they're comfortable for you, anywhere around, you can move them anytime. There's really no rules around the hands. So take a few deep breaths. One of my main jobs will be to remind you to take good deep breaths from time to time. Okay. More deep breath, and then go ahead and put your weight into kind of the bottom edges of your feet, push down, and to lift up your hips off the ground, hips and bottom up off the ground. Now you may notice you start trembling or some kind of like wobbling back and forth, a little seesawing. Totally normal. That happens all the time. And often, you'll feel some kind of like bouncy stuff going on too. Yeah. So we're staying here for a minute. And breathe. Does your watch buzz on you? Reminder. Okay, one more good deep breath, and then you can just slowly lower your hips back down to the ground. And once they're down there, you can extend your feet, keeping your soles together, extend them out just a few inches. Yeah, they're not moving. Yeah, I think that's about right. And then just let your knees just fall to the sides. You don't have to hold on to them at all. Stay here for another couple of deep breaths. Okay, and you can just, if you think of them as kind of moth wings, butterfly wings, just bring, your knees in. That's a great spot. And you're just gonna, when I say hold them there, it's not like you're holding them tight. You're just generally, because if you do start feeling some shaking, they'll obviously be kind of coming closer and further apart. But at that general spot, and we'll stay here for a couple of minutes. So you may or may not start feeling some tremoring. Sometimes, I may see stuff that you may or may not feel. Sometimes you may feel stuff that I may or may not see. Okay, you can go ahead and bring your knees in just another few inches. Great. Sometimes shifting the position like this you can feel a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Like as you were moving them in? Okay.
Not so much sitting in the position, but
Huh. Okay. did a lot of ballet as a kid, and I remember putting my foot up on like a chair and just watching. I was like, wow, my leg was just shaking after one of the classes. And it's basically that same thing. You know, and I could easily come out of it. It was just, I just hit that sweet spot. It's really cool. Apparently I was made to shake from the beginning. How are you feeling in your body? Feeling okay? Yeah. Okay. Well, you're almost done with this one. Okay. So what are you experiencing? When you say you don't know if you can keep it there. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
I just don't know that I can stay. Like it feels like it's dropping. It might not be.
Okay.
But the body feels like it's like okay,
Yeah. Let it go. Right.
not painful.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and bring them forward or together a little bit more. And sometimes the ankle, you know, with your feet being together, sometimes the ankle is kind of what limits where you can go here. So we're going to stay here for 2 minutes. Notice any difference with this one? Okay. Mm. Right. Right.
That makes sense to my brain.
Yeah.
No, this makes sense.
Did you feel, yeah, in both legs or?
More in the left than the right, and I'm right sided, so
Okay.
stronger.
Mm. Good deep breath. Do a couple more deep breaths here, and then you can go ahead and go to flat feet. So your feet are still going to be parallel, and maybe just, you know, an inch or two between them, but not wide apart. But they don't need to be, you know, touching each other or anything. Okay, you can go ahead and do flat feet. And then if you're comfortable there, it feels like your knees could go, like, fan out just a tiny bit. Yeah, maybe there or so. But this is when you start being able to play around with. So sometimes the tremoring will feel like it shifts or maybe even slows down for a moment when you go to flat feet, but it will pretty much come back. So I like this because it feels like you're not kind of holding it as much as, yeah. Right. Right. Still doing okay? Okay. So what are you experiencing in your body right now? Perfect. Must have heard you.
So, a couple of things. I can feel it now more through all my legs.
Okay.
To the calf a little bit more. So
Okay.
setting in this position, extending it.
Hmm. So it was more upper?
It's more upper to begin with, but now I feel it through my knees and all the way down. Not quite all the way, maybe at the top of my rib, but not at the foot so much. It feels weird.
Okay.
Because it feels simultaneously controlling and body.
Yeah.
So I kind of don't know how to describe that, except that I don't feel like I need to hurt myself. I don't feel like I need to stabilize myself. I don't feel like I need to move from this position.
Yeah.
But I'm not controlling the body.
Right.
So that feels very awkward.
You're not creating the movement.
I'm not creating the movement.
Yeah.
So my brain's going, what are you doing?
Right.
You're not trying to stop it either. So
Yeah.
it's not like a cramp where it's painful and you want it to stop. This is
Right.
painful.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, it reminds me visually what my brain sees as when I did Reiki. Lots of light, crisscrossing, not just from the window that's having an effect on my eyelids, but it's in my brain.
Right.
It's more, I described it like spider wrap designs.
Yeah, 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 right.
Flower.
We have them. Yep.
It's like,
Yeah. It's like sacred geometry. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Is this with eyes closed? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
when I had Reiki, it would change colors depending on where they were.
Okay.
I don't remember the colors, obviously, how things come up.
Yeah.
But that's what this from, like the visualization that my brain just created for it.
Oh, that's so cool. I love hearing that. And it's really fun to look at the design on your leggings at the same as you're just kind of like, oh, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, it is kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I'm drawn to that design anyway, so
Right.
that's why my brain likes that.
Yeah. I'm so curious about that. And it's pretty consistent in that kind of design, or was it changing as your position changed, or as any of the like where you felt the sensations?
It just kind of moves across what I would normally consider my field of vision.
Okay.
So it kind of like would move across.
Yeah.
Not the same. What is that? Not the same.
Right. Okay.
There would be a new variant.
Right.
With a different color potentially, or different colors. I thought that was painful.
Okay. Very cool. So you're not in pain.
Like right now, it's really purple. Orange.
Right. You know, and I know chakras are usually associated with specific colors, but I'm not against the idea that any given color could be in a chakra at a different time.
Right.
As well. So.
I don't know that I know them well enough to know what was associated anyway, so I don't know if they were actually dark colors.
Right. Right. Right color. Yeah.
But also what I noticed about being in this position is that my heart is not as fast, even though the rest of that is still going on.
Okay.
So it's like from here up is super, super calm.
Yeah. You just said from like your ribs up?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Waist up,
Right.
so where I start to feel it is just more right there.
Okay. So just below your hips. Okay. Well, I hate to cut you short for a moment, but I want you to take a rest. So go ahead and extend your legs. And we'll just stay here for a minute or so. Quiet. So you can go ahead and bring your feet back, or your knees back up, so your feet back to being flat. And maybe heels just a little bit further away from your bottom. Yeah, great. And then you can kind of play around with just slowly letting your knees go out a little bit and see if there's a spot that kind of grabs your attention. You can go a little bit wider or come in a little more. No, not necessarily. And sometimes it takes a moment for tremors to come back in, but they pretty much do. Take a good deep breath. We'll just go for a few more minutes. Here goes cricket. How's the sensation feeling at this point?
It's been to the inside.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
more than the out.
Okay.
It's less all over. It's more.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's bizarre how many terms can be used to describe. Like, it's a, yeah. Those were great words.
It's surprisingly not uncomfortable. When you first described it, I thought, oh, I'm not gonna like that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna feel
Yeah.
comfortable, and it doesn't have that extra feel.
Right. Even when they were pointy. Right. Yeah. So we're just going to go for about one more minute. I feel like I want your feet just a smidge closer together. Yeah. Like hamstring? Okay. Okay. It's actually amazing what different positions can do. Sometimes if you've been doing this practice for a while, there are actually kind of adjustments or things that I can do with you that can help kind of move things around, and even at times kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not engage, but kind of amplify.
There for a second about heavier and more concentrated.
Yeah,
Compact, dense.
in that back part of the leg.
Kind of like I can't reach it. This
Yeah.
this side of the brain on the inside.
Okay.
I don't want to make you stop.
Yeah. Oh, we're going over. Okay. Well, you can go ahead and extend your legs. And I'm going to let you rest for a few minutes. Get in whatever position's comfortable. It can be on your back, on your side, even on your stomach if you want to. And I'll just let you have a nice little rest for 2 or 3 minutes. And I'll have you come up and we'll see how you're doing. Are you still warm enough? Okay. Okay, when you feel ready, you can roll to one side. Sorry to cut your nap a little short. You can roll to one side and then just slowly come on up. Yay! And I'm going to kind of come around here just so that, actually, I just brought one of these up, so we'll look at that together.
Okay.
So you don't have to read it right now, but take a moment. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You have a look?
Well, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so therefore it wasn't what I expected. So
Okay.
Because I didn't know what to expect.
Right,
So,
right.
So that was really interesting to experience my body in something I would not have normally
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like boggled.
Yeah. So
Right.
I'm not sure I kind of sense of it yet.
Okay. That's cool. Well, it'll integrate too. And actually, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about a little bit. So with the first time, um, you know, at least if you're going to shake it, if you're going to try to do it again on your own, wait at least a couple days, 2 or 3 days before doing it again, just to allow the experience to integrate into your body a little bit. So kind of typical, like drink more water than usual. You might want to pay attention to your dreams. Some things might come up there. Shaking can be very relaxing. It can also give you energy. So, you might experience one or the other, or it might just feel like, okay, just kind of a normal day. If you do, like tonight, you feel kind of extra tired, even if you might feel a little bit sore, especially like in the hip flexor areas where sometimes you get sore. It usually only happens the first time. Feel free to take a bath in like Epsom salts or something if you need to. But that soreness doesn't usually continue with other times if you do the shaking. And you may even have some additional shaking come up, and that's all fine and normal. Nothing you need to kind of hold off on there. What else? What else? Oh, and then if you are doing the practice, this is really nice in that it's really a less is more kind of a practice. So you really never need to do it more than 10 to 20 minutes of shaking. And not more than 3 times a week. So it's not like this heavy duty workout and you do it every day. And they've really found that the less you do it, the more subtly it's done. It's just, you actually get kind of faster results and notice more. I don't know, sometimes like thoughts and experiences and memories can come up. Sometimes they don't. So, that just changes with each time that you do it.
Sure.
But yeah. So do you have any questions for me?
I think that was most of it. It's like, okay, how does it potentially impact you? So what am I looking for?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll get really busy, and so I'm not as self-observant in those things.
Right, right.
Because
Yeah.
go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And when I pause, I'm like, oh, that was a different experience of that kind of busyness or not. But
Right.
I don't know what I'm looking for yet. So
Yeah.
it'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm glad it's on weekends, so it's a little bit easier to be
Sure.
self-observant.
Right, right.
Less focused on
Yeah,
weekends.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious. And really, if anything does come up that you have questions about, you're concerned, like, really feel free to call or text me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be happy to give you any insight.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to go stop the video.